Hello Unity devs! Today we're going to be implementing a network lobby into our multiplayer karting microgame. If you haven't already, I highly recommend you check out this video first, followed by this one. Alright, let's get stuck into it. Before we get stuck into the tutorial, I just want to have a quick shout out to Marcakes, who joined the Discord to ask about how to implement some extra features, such as having a main menu and getting all the players to start at the same time. He did make some other requests, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to keep it really simple and just implement the network lobby as easily as possible, which will also act as a main menu. If you have any questions about any of my videos or you have requests, feel free to reach out in the comments or join the Discord. Please don't forget to also drop a like if you find my videos useful in any way at all. Once we've opened up the project we've been working on, we're now going to have a look at one of the examples that's included in the Mirror framework, which already has a working network lobby. So this is under Mirror, Examples, under Room, and we're going to start by opening up this README file. This README shows us exactly what we need to do to get this example working in Unity. Namely, we need to make sure that these scenes are added into the build settings, which I'll show you how to do shortly. Now I'm just going to close this README. What we need to do to get each of these scenes in there is we need to open each scene. So the first one we need to do is open the offline scene and click on File, Build Settings, and make sure that we add the open scene. And then we're going to make sure this is at the top. And then we need to make sure that only these ones are ticked. The next one we need to open is the room scene. Click on File, Build Settings, add the open scene, drag it underneath the offline one. And the last one was the online scene, so we're going to open that up. Go File, Build Settings, add open scene, drag that to the bottom, and that's all sorted. Now to test the example, we're going to go back into our offline scene, save it. We're going to go build and run. We'll select our compiled folder. Now once the example's been compiled and it's running, we're going to click on host server and client, and that's going to host the server over here, and we'll click ready to say that we're ready to start, and then we're going to join it from the editor. So we're going to run it. We'll click on client, and then we're going to press ready on this end, and that'll tell it that it's ready. We can press cancel if we want to, and you can see that that'll change the status to not ready. You can toggle it back on, and then once you press start the game, it's going to send both the players into the new scene, which is exactly what we want. Now we're going to have a look at this scene, so we're going to break down the components. So we'll close the active running sessions. We're going to start by looking at this offline scene, and it's very simple. It's got a camera, it's got this network room manager. Now they've created a network manager HUD component in there, and then there's a network room manager ext. Now this is a custom script that's been an extension of just the standard network room manager. We're not going to make our own script for this. We're just going to use the built-in one, so ours will be even simpler than this. Now, they've got a few extra things like a prize and a spawnable prize. Now, we don't want any of that stuff. We're going to keep it really, really simple, and then there's just the KCP transport here. Next, we want to have a look at the room scene. And in here, there's literally nothing. And now we're just going to have a look at the online scene. Now, this doesn't even have a network manager, so it works differently to how we've set it up previously. But this is all there is to it. So now that we have an idea of what's involved in making a network lobby, we're going to start working on our project. The first thing we need to open is we need to go to our intro scene, which is under karting, under scenes, and it's under intro menu. Now, the first thing we want to do with this scene is we want to add it to the build settings like we did with the example. So let's click on File, Build Settings, and we'll remove those 3 example scenes, and we're going to add this open scene, which it's already in there, so we just need to tick it, and then that's done. So this bit's not necessary, but if we want to make it so when the game starts, this guy's spinning around, we need to right-click on this network identity and click on Remove Component. Next, we need to make a kart room player. So we're just going to right click in the tree and click on create empty. We're going to call it kart room player. And then we need to add this component, and it's network room player. And that's all there is to it. All you want to do is make it a prefab. So we'll go back to the prefabs folder that we made in the last video. And we're just going to drag this in. And then once it's in here, we just need to delete it. Now this next bit's the most important bit. We're going to make a brand new object. We're going to call it Network Room Manager. Now in here, we need to add a few components. The first one is the Network Room Manager. And there's a whole bunch of properties we need to set to make sure this is going to work. The first thing we need to do is set this offline scene. And we want to make that the intro menu, which is over under karting, under scenes. Intro menu is going to be in the offline scene. It's also going to be in the online scene. Next, we need to set this KCP transport. So we need to add that component. So that'll be KCP transport. And then once that's in there, we can add that in. Nice, easy way to do it is to just drag and drop it from here. Or if you want to, you can also drag it from here, which does the exact same thing. The next thing we need to do is set the player prefab. So we go down to player prefab and we need to go back to our prefabs folder and we need to drag in our Kart Classic variant that we've created previously. And then we need to set the spawn method to round robin. If we have it to random, sometimes what happens is the players will spawn on the same position, which is not good for a racing game. Now we need to add the kart room player. So we just need to scroll down, find the room player prefab, and we're going to drag that in that we just created. And now we need to set the room scene, which is the intro menu again. So we need to go back to our scenes up here, drag the intro menu into the room scene, and the gameplay scene is the main scene. And then the last thing we need to do is have our projectile added as well. So that projectile that we made in the previous video where we can throw the witches hats. So we want to add that in. It should be under prefabs and we're just going to drag that in. And that should be all done. The last component we need to add is the Network Manager HUD. That should be the last piece. So now that we've done all that, we should be able to save our scene. Now we can go open our main scene. The first thing we want to do in our main scene is we want to add it to the build settings. So we'll go File, Build Settings, and it's already in here. So we just need to tick it. Just need to drag it up to the top so that the intro menu is at the top and the main scene is second. Now the Network Manager game object that we've created previously, it needs to go. It's incompatible with the network lobby, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to save it. Now I want to create some starting positions, so we're just going to go over here. I'm going to make 4 empty game objects for the start pos, which will be the starting position. We're just going to set the position to 0 so that it's nice and flat on the ground, and then we're just going to drag it over so it's in the right spot. And now we want to add component, and we want to make this a network start position. And then we just want to copy and paste this 3 times, move it around. But you have 4 start positions. Now we're almost ready, but what we need to do is fix a few things that are wrong with the Kart Classic prefab that we've made previously. So we're going to go to our prefabs, open our Kart Classic player. Now we need to add a network rigid body to this guy. Just going to collapse these a bit to make it a bit easier to see. So we'll go add component, network rigid body. We want to give it client authority. Sync the velocity, sync the angular velocity. We want to set this to client to server and also make sure that that's set for the network transform. That's obsolete, so that's fine. Sync the position and rotation. Probably don't need to sync the position because the rigid body should be doing that. and it's already set to client to server. So that looks like it's all good now. So hopefully we've done everything now. So I'm just going to exit this prefab, go back to the intro scene, do a save, and we'll do a build and run. Once the game is running, I'm going to click host server and client. And now I'm going to go to my editor and press play. I'm going to make this a client, which will connect to the server, which is great. I'm going to press ready. And you can see that it's ready on the server. I'm going to press ready on the server now. And look at that. We have 2 players playing together. Which is just magic, isn't it? And there's a nice feature. If we hit the spacebar, we can shoot the witches' hats that we had made previously. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was nice and easy. There was no scripting at all in this video. So yeah, don't forget to drop a like if you liked it. And just let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to see. Thank you. Bye.